Hi, and welcome back to Let's Talk People Pleasing. So, if you've ever thought, maybe I should speak to someone about this, or maybe I should get help, and then listed a bunch of reasons why not, this episode is for you because I want to unpack some of the most common fears and myths that hold people back from accessing therapy, especially people pleasers, and explore what could change if you did take that step. And my hope is that by the end of this, you will feel more empowered and confident about reaching out, or even just considering reaching out, whether it's with me or with another therapist, just to have that idea that it might be a possibility that you could potentially seek some support for what you're going through. So, let's start with why people perhaps avoid therapy or feel a block when it comes to reaching out. Before I go any further, I've got Max with me today, so I'm going to try my best to not get distracted by him. He's getting a bit restless. But let's start with something I hear very often, which is about this idea that you need to be in some sort of crisis to access therapy. Things have to be really bad and everything has to be sort of falling apart before you consider therapy. When you're crying in the shower every day, or you literally can't get out of bed because you feel so bad. The thing is, therapy is so much more than crisis management. It's actually about preventing burnout and addressing those nagging feelings of something not feeling right, or addressing why you feel stuck or dissatisfied with how things are for you. And it's about breaking patterns that don't serve you before they spiral out of control and things get really bad for you. Another thing to consider actually is that waiting until you're in full-blown crisis mode to start therapy might actually work against you, because when you're in the absolute thick of it, feeling utterly overwhelmed, everything around you is feeling quite chaotic, or it is actually chaotic, you might not have that headspace to explore deeper patterns or make sense of what's happening for you. So therapy can still help in some cases during a crisis, of course, but that would make it more focused on managing the immediate fire rather than addressing what caused it in the first place, if that makes sense. Starting therapy before things hit breaking point gives you the opportunity to build insight, skills, and resilience so that when challenges do arise, you're much better equipped and you feel like you've got that space to handle them. Another thing I hear a lot of the time is, my issues aren't bad enough. Things aren't bad enough to access therapy. So you're constantly overthinking conversations, perhaps feeling self-conscious or anxious in social situations, or struggling to say no without guilt. These things might not feel big enough for therapy, but they're draining your energy and they're stopping you from enjoying life and from showing up as the person you actually want to be. So therapy can help you get to the root of these issues so that they don't keep holding you back. Maybe you're comparing yourself to someone else who seems to be going through something worse, or you've been telling yourself, oh, it's just me being silly, I should be able to handle this. Just consider this. What if those small struggles are the exact things that are keeping you from feeling happy and confident or at ease in your life? For example, if you're apologising all the time for everything that isn't even your fault, second guessing decisions, or you find yourself rewriting text messages 10 times because you're worried about how they're going to come across, they aren't small things. They're signs that you're carrying a lot of unnecessary stress and self-doubt that you don't need to be carrying anymore. And therapy can help you untangle where those behaviours came from and teach you how to approach life and to approach text messages with more confidence and ease, you know? And just think, if it was one of your friends or a loved one that was feeling how you're feeling and they were considering maybe reaching out to someone, would you be saying to them, and I hope you wouldn't, I don't think you would be, but just consider, like, what would you be saying to them if they were sort of speaking to you about potentially considering therapy? Would you be saying, no, you've got to wait until things are really bad before you do that, and sort of dismissing all the angst and everything that they're feeling? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. I imagine, especially if you're listening to this podcast, I imagine that you would be encouraging them and supporting them to get the help or support that you know would benefit them. And one of the biggest myths for people pleasers is the idea that if they go to therapy, work through the people pleasing, they're going to stop doing nice things for people. So if this sounds like you, let me put your mind at ease. Addressing and stopping people pleasing isn't going to turn you into someone who's selfish, mean, or unkind. It's about helping you create healthier boundaries so you can still be kind without constantly overextending yourself and ignoring self care and ignoring what you need. So think about it. So, when you do say yes to something you really don't want to do, just allow yourself to consider and really check in with yourself. Are you doing it because you're genuinely kind and want to do it? Or is there some part of you there, or a big part of you, that's doing it because you feel guilty or afraid of upsetting someone or of coming across in a bad way? Therapy helps you find the balance so you can say yes when you want to and no when you need to, or know when you want to as well, without feeling bad about yourself or anxious about what they think. It's all about finding that middle ground that works for you. It doesn't mean that you're going to turn into someone who never has time for anyone, never does anything for anyone, and that people think really bad of. It's just about thinking of it as even like me too instead of me first can be helpful. Another barrier that gets in the way of people accessing therapy or even considering it is that fear of like the unknown, the uncertain. Maybe you've thought, what if I don't get on with my therapist? What if they think I'm weird or judge me for struggling with something like saying no? What if I don't know what to talk about in therapy? Or you might be thinking, I don't even know what I need from therapy. And those fears are so normal, honestly, and so common, you wouldn't believe, like, especially for people pleasers who've spent a lifetime worrying about being too much or not being enough for people. A good therapist, though, will help to put you at ease. My aim when you meet me for the first time is to do what I can to help you feel reassured and comfortable. A lot of the people I work with say they find it a relief that I'm normal, which I'm going to take as a good thing. I think it's a good thing. They often refer to me as down to earth, so I think that's what they mean, and being genuine. Obviously, I do remain professional, can we just say that? But it is nice to know really that people do see how genuine I am in my approach and that I genuinely want to help people and I'm passionate about what I do. I suppose I'm practicing what I preach in therapy, being a therapist as well, because I am being authentic with you. Yes, I have my boundaries. Yes, I have my professional expertise and limitations of what I disclose about myself, and I keep the focus on you. However, it sounds like from the feedback I get from people that, when you do work with me, you can see how genuine I am, which, like, even saying that, I'm feeling like emotional because it matters a lot to me and that comes across to you. And if you're worried about not knowing what to say to a therapist and things like that, I know personally and professionally, I'll guide the conversation where necessary so you don't feel awkward that first time of meeting me. And I can ask you the questions that I know will help you tell me what's been going on for you. So if you don't have a clue where to start, don't worry about that. I can only speak for myself here, but I will make sure that I ask you the questions that will help you tell me what I need to know in order to help you. And if you're unsure about finding the right fit, so you're worried that you're not going to get on with your therapist, or they might just, you might just not suit each other, so to speak. Most therapists nowadays will offer you the opportunity to have a free call with them so that you can check them out and get a feel for how they are and who they are and how they come across. So, for example, I offer a free initial chat over the phone so we can talk stuff through and you can ask me any questions, and there's no pressure, no obligation, just a chance to see if we're a good match and you want to go ahead with therapy or not. And you don't even need to tell me on the phone if you want to go ahead with therapy or not. You can always go away and think about it. So there's no pressure there, no awkwardness. So I touched on this just before, but a worry it is for people is like, I don't know what I want therapy for though. If you haven't got a clear idea or clear goals for therapy, that's okay too. A lot of people I work with, when they first come to me, they don't actually know what they maybe want to get out of therapy, like they're unclear as to what they want therapy for. And that's part of my approach, if you like. It's allowing you that space to explore what you actually want for the first time, especially if you're a people pleaser, you probably aren't used to that. So it's not until we start exploring things that you might then start recognizing how you want your life to look. I always aim to meet you where you're at, whether that's with clear goals or just a vague feeling of wanting things to be different somehow. And if you do want to figure out a goal or what you want to get from therapy, you could try considering how you don't want things to be, because often when you start thinking about what you don't want things to be like, it gives you then clues as to the opposite of that in terms of what you do want things to be like. But don't worry about it. The therapist should be there to help you figure this out and help you sort of help take some of the load off you with that. So we've gone through some of the barriers, common myths. What happens when you do take that step? I want to give you some specific ideas of how therapy can help, because I want you to picture how therapy could potentially change your life. And that's not me doing a sales pitch. I just really want to empower you and encourage you to just even consider it. So imagine no more over apologizing. Imagine a version of you that doesn't apologize for things that aren't your fault, or say sorry for simply taking up space or speaking or breathing. Like, can you imagine? Seriously though, therapy helps you recognize when you're default into these unhelpful patterns and gives you the tools to stop those unhelpful patterns and to break those habits that you've gotten into over the years. Another benefit is feeling confident in your decisions. So instead of feeling the need to ask 3 friends for their input before every decision you make, you finally have that clarity and just feel sure of yourself and in your decisions. So you can trust your own judgment and you don't overanalyze every what if. Sorry, I'm smiling here because Max is trying to get my attention and I really want to finish this episode before I feed him. Another benefit is authentic connections. So when you stop masking and you stop suppressing how you feel or bending over backwards to keep the peace, you are allowing people to see the real you, because through therapy, you have finally found the ability to truly accept yourself for who you are, and therapy has helped you recognize that you were never too much. You are enough just as you are. And that realization is liberating. Like, I know, I've been there, I know, and I know people I've worked with get there. And the benefit of that is it just helps you find your tribe, your like minded people that you want to connect with, which in itself serves to reinforce this newfound self acceptance you have. And it just builds these deeper, more meaningful relationships, because people can finally truly connect with who you are, because you are showing that to them, whereas previously through the masking or being a social chameleon or shape shifting your personality or feeling really like you're not good enough, it's actually quite like self-perpetuating cycle in a way, because it, you feel like you're not good enough, you might feel quite alone, but then actually the mask that you're putting on maintains that feeling, because you're never really allowing people to connect to the real you. But through therapy, you can break that cycle and you can get to that place, like I say, where you do find your tribe and you do connect with others. And there's something just life changing about that. Big benefit is healthy boundaries. So picture this: your partner is wanting to watch Netflix again, but you both always usually end up on your phones, not really paying attention. You're not that interested in the show. And you'd rather go upstairs and read a book. And instead of feeling guilty or avoiding saying that, you're able to calmly say, I'm going to go and have some quiet time tonight upstairs and read. And it's not a big deal, because you've learned through the therapy to honour your needs and that it's okay. Or perhaps you're the default parent carrying all the responsibilities, the one who has to carry the mental load of remembering stuff, household responsibilities, things for the kids, remembering appointments and key dates. And instead of continuing to do that and feeling resentful of your partner, you are able to have the difficult conversations that you need to have, where you are able to express how you feel and how you want things to be different. And you end up feeling so much lighter and less frazzled, and you have more energy. And your partner's no longer pissing you off. So you've got a better relationship already. Another benefit of therapy is advocating for yourself. So maybe you've been scared to ask your manager for a pay rise, even though you know you deserve it, or you've been sat in a meeting wanting to say something you know needs saying, but it feels too scary to speak up. Therapy helps you understand why speaking up feels so hard. And through the techniques and various things that you can do in therapy and outside of sessions, it gives you the confidence to have those conversations and to stand up and to be heard. Now, another thing, imagine not lying awake at night, replaying every conversation or rewriting text messages 10 times. Therapy helps you break the cycle of overthinking so you can spend that energy on things that actually matter to you. You're actually able to sit down, chill out for a bit, even if it means leaving the hoovering for another day. You can sit there without feeling like, oh, I should be doing something, or what about this, what about that? You can actually switch off. And no more doom scrolling, no more comparing and despairing or approval seeking. Through therapy, you can break the pattern of feeling like you need external validation to feel okay about yourself. Like, no more being concerned about what you post on Instagram or how your choices come across to others. No more stressing out over what to wear because you no longer feel self conscious and you're no longer as worried about what people think. And you are finally free from the doom scrolling and you've stopped comparing yourself to others because you now know who you are. And that is the big one. Therapy isn't just about solving problems, it's about rediscovering, or maybe for the first time, discovering your authentic self, who you truly are, and getting you to that stage where you can actually fully embrace it. Living life how you truly want to live it. It's just completely liberating. Like, you feel happier, you can feel more confident and grounded and at ease, and you just feel free. Like, I actually feel emotional saying this because I've been there and I've worked through all these things that I'm using as examples as stuff that the people I work with come to me with and break through. They're also things that I've dealt with, and I've worked through those difficulties myself through therapy and through practicing what I preach and come out the other side. I struggle to express just how liberating just freeing it feels to no longer be held back by that underlying perhaps low self-esteem or anxiety that you might be feeling, and self-doubt, to just literally like show up in the world as your true self. And the amazing thing about therapy is these changes that you experience, they have this ripple effect. They ripple out into every area of your life. So, for example, when you stop people pleasing at work, you have more energy in your personal life, or vice versa. When you feel more confident in relationships, you're not constantly doubting yourself. So, it's not about becoming someone else. It's not about, if you're listening to this in December, it's not about new year, new you. It's about becoming more you, the real you. So, if you have been holding off on therapy, I hope this episode has helped you see that you don't need to be in crisis. You don't have to have everything figured out or know exactly what you want to work on to start therapy. Therapy is for you if you're tired of feeling stuck, you're tired of running around doing everything for everyone, feeling burnt out or unsure of yourself. And it's for you if you want to stop overthinking, set these healthy boundaries that you keep hearing about and reading about but don't feel able to implement. And it's about finally feeling like you. And if that sounds like what you need and you want to check out therapy with me, you can book a free initial chat on my website, a chance to ask questions, share anything you want to share. But like I say, don't worry, I know what questions I can ask if you're not sure how to start the conversation. And you can just see if we'd work well together. Taking that first step might feel scary, but it can also be the start of something life-changing. And perhaps, like I say, if you're watching or listening to this in December, maybe it is about thinking about 2025 being this new chapter of you rediscovering or discovering for the first time your authentic self and starting to live life more in line with how you truly want to live it rather than how you feel you're expected to live life. Thank you so much for listening. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. It really helps others find the podcast. And if you are ready to take that step towards therapy, don't hesitate. Don't put it off. You don't have to start therapy straight away. You can still book in for that chat. and let's start making those changes together. But take care, and I'll see you soon.